Thank you, dear viewers, for joining us on the last edition of Prime Flash, coming to you live from My Media Prime Television. I am Dolly Ngonde on the anchor. Today is the feast of the Ramadan, according to a release that has been, of course, published by the Moon and Crescent Commission. The National Moon Crescent Commission said the moon was sighted, and the information relayed by the Sultan and Senator Bata, as this marks the end of the 29 days of fasting by Muslim faithfuls during the holy month of Ramadan. In this light, the National Moon Crescent Commission wishes all Muslim faithfuls a happy feast of Ramadan and also praise Allah the Almighty to accept their good deeds, to consolidate peace and national unity as well as prosperity in Cameroon. This has been signed by Professor Suleimani, the spokesperson of the commission. And away from that, we take you straight away to the West region, where earlier before now, food items and clothing have also been given to some Muslim detainees of the Bafoussam Central Prison by the President of the Council of Imams and other Muslim dignitaries of Cameroon for the West. It should be noted that this action has been led by Baba Abdallah, the Secretary General of the President of the Council of Imams and Muslims dignitaries, to enable the detainees celebrate the feast with joy. And now on to this information of general interest between Cameroon and Chad. In a press release from the Presidency of the Republic of Chad dated April 20th, 2023, Chadian officials explained that despite letters sent to Cameroonian authorities to resolve disputes regarding the alleged acquisition of the XSO assets by Savannah Energy, negotiations continued discreetly. Moreover, Cameroon has not responded to CEMAC's letter requesting a no objection opinion for the acquisition of the patron's assets by Chad. Faced with this difficulty, Chad has recalled its ambassador for consultation in order to defend its interests and respectively in the face of Cameroon's repeated actions. Chadian Minister of State and Secretary General of the Presidency, Dr. Gali Nothe Gatha, says this dispute is straining relations between the two countries and could have consequences for economic and political cooperations. Welcome back, dear viewers. Still in more news related to the feast of the Ramadan, we are told in the report coming up that the last 10 days of the holy month of Ramadan are considered the holiest, as Muslim faithfuls believe it was the same time the first 3 verses of the Quran were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. Our reporter Naivona, in understanding the significance of these last 10 days, did speak with some Muslim faithfuls here in Douala and got these insights in the report coming up.
As the holy month of Ramadan draws to a close, Muslims around the world are gradually bidding farewell to the month of blessings, spiritual reflection and personal growth. During these last 10 days of Ramadan, which is considered a period of immense significance, Muslims prioritize worship, forgiveness and personal transformation. The last 10 days is equally a period to heighten spiritual awareness and a chance to strengthen one's relationship with Allah. It should be noted that it is within the last 10 days that the Night of Power occurred, which is considered the most significant event of the holy month, marking the night when the first verses of the Holy Quran were revealed to Prophet Muhammad. Muslims around the world thus spend the Night of Power in prayers and worship, seeking forgiveness and guidance from Allah. The last 10 days are also a time for increased acts of kindness and charity, as Muslims strive to embody the values of generosity and compassion. Notwithstanding, during these last days of Ramadan, Muslims are reminded to uphold self-discipline, compassion and generosity, as well as work towards building a peaceful and just society.
And we're wishing a very happy feast to all Muslim faithfuls. Now let's talk this information related to health, where the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Awudu Brandon, has paid a walk-in visit to the medical center in the Akono and Ngumo District Hospital in the Central Region. The aim of his visit, reporter Eileen Sama comes up saying that, is to inspect some health equipment and also to ensure that they are put together for the safety of the population. Get details right ahead.
Dr. Awudu Brandon's first inspection visit in the Mefu and Akono division was at the medical center of Akono, where him and his entourage assessed the technical department, checking out the operating room, maternity room, laboratory and ultrasound room facing major difficulties. A few problems were noted by the health boss after his tour of the hospital, including lack of electricity and water, medical staff, as well as the poor management of waste disposal, just to name but these. From Akono, the boss of the health sector and his team moved to the Ngumo District Hospital, still in Mefu and Akono Division Central Region of Cameroon, where they were received by the director of the hospital, Professor Achille Esomba Mani, who highlighted that the hospital suffers from insufficient and worn-out technical equipment. During their tour of the Ngumo District Hospital, the health officials noted that the health facility needs to be modernized. From the reception service to the HIV care unit, to the laboratory, operating room, maternity and pediatric unit, there is much work to be done. Several shortcomings were also noted at the hospital's morgue, including worn-out machinery, insufficient power supply, and insufficient capacity. It is to that effect that the director was instructed to suspend all activities in the department in order to review and improve the conditions, so as to meet up with President Biya's wish for quality care to the entire population without distinction.
And in more health news, the death toll continues to rise above 5 persons against the recent cholera outbreak in the center region of the country. And running through its 4th week, we get in the report coming up that some 88 other cases have also been recorded in local health facilities in that part of the country, with a fatality rate of 5.68%, according to a recent communique released by still the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Awudu Brandon. As we get details in the report ahead, done for us by Julian Ndambi.
Cholera is a major health problem affecting several African countries, and Cameroon is not left out. According to a report by the World Health Organization, in Cameroon between October 29, 2021 and April 30, 2022, a total of 6,652 suspected cases of cholera was recorded, including 134 deaths. Cholera is an acute intestinal infection caused by the ingestion of contaminated water or food by the highly contagious and deadly Vibrio cholera bacillus. The epidemic, according to a communique dated April 19, 2023, and signed by the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Awudu Brandon, has been affecting 6 health districts in the Central Region for 4 weeks now. The 6 health districts are Obala, Jongolo, Cité Verte, BMC, Mfu, and Kondongo, with the communique adding there are currently 88 notified cases and 5 deaths with fatality rate at 5.68%. The population has been called upon to respect good hygiene practices such as washing of hands with clean flowing water and soap before eating and after using the toilet. Also, washing of food with clean potable water before any consumption, water purification before drinking, and proper cooking of food are measures which must be taken seriously. An alcohol-based hand sanitizer is also a must-have so as to use in case where there is not enough water for proper hand washing. Furthermore, the population is advised to be vigilant if anyone shows symptoms of cholera such as persistent diarrhea and vomiting. They should be taken immediately to any health facility. It should be noted that cholera is a fatal disease if not treated right away.
That was Julian Dambe reporting there, and you are still watching the 9:30 a.m. Prime Flash coming to you live from My Media Prime's headquarters here in the economic capital, Douala. Now, reactions have continued flooding in both online and offline against a 73-year-old man who is accused to have sexually assaulted his 11-year-old granddaughter. Here in Douala, some city dwellers have spoken through the microphone of our reporter Kathrani Kongwe, who came back compiling their reactions to us.
Following the case of a 73-year-old man identified as Tani, who was almost lynched in mob action for allegedly sleeping with his granddaughter in Douala, reactions have been streaming in since the incident. To me, saying he is wicked is small. As a parent, I will say he is a witch, because a grandfather who is normal cannot do that to his granddaughter or daughter. To me, this kind of father should be condemned in worse terms. It is not good. The act is condemnable, and even the Bible condemns these acts. I think the man needs to see a therapist to know the problem he has, because to me, it is bad. That child needs to be helped as well, because a child of 11 is still a minor. She will grow with that in her head, adding that the act was perpetrated by a family member. Given that the act is abnormal, Mr. Ngwiliame says the man needs to be questioned. As they have arrested him, let them ask him why he had to commit such an act if it doesn't involve occultism, because I don't understand. There are many women out there. It is not your granddaughter that will satisfy your sexual urge, because even at his age, there are women who are still open. So there should be something hiding behind these acts. As advice to the population, Mr. Jean-Claude says people should embrace God, given that the society is becoming evil by the day. It is not normal. It should be an order from a court group. If he is normal, he can't do that. We need to choose God to live in peace, because these are people who have chosen the devil. It should be noted that this is not the first case where children are being violated sexually, either by neighbors, visitors, and in worse terms, close relatives. Thus, the need for prudence is advised.
Indeed, the need for prudence is advised, especially at a time when children are becoming more vulnerable. Now, let's talk culture to wrap up this week's edition of Prime Flash with Fon Quinta, who takes us to the Northwest region precisely to talk about the Meta people of Mbengwe in the subdivision of Momo in the Northwest region, of course, who have retraced their roots by rekindling memories of their cultural practices and values. This was during their recently held cultural festival dubbed Michi Ebeng, which took place in the Guneko village over there in the Northwest region. Staff lady Fon Quinta has the details in the report coming up.
It was a unique moment for the sons and daughters of the Meta clan who once had present at the Guneko Funds Palace to live the moment of their cultural festival dubbed Michi Ebeng after 6 years of break as a result of the ongoing Anglophone crisis.
In fact, you will bear with me that for the past 6 years, things like this, we've not been able to do that. And sometimes we have said that our culture is like it's in a code. And we are trying to work it up now so we can start again from somewhere. The Meta culture you have seen is very rich, absolutely very, very rich. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. And what we are saying is that it is in our interest, one, to preserve our culture. Two, we pass the culture over to the generation to come.
A very colorful ceremony in which hundreds of attendees were all compelled to dress only traditionally, speak only the Meta language, drink only palm wine, using horns and calabashes, and eat only traditional delicacies in wooden bowls or plantain leaves. A good number of Meta traditional rulers, quarter heads of Guneko Fundum, and the population at large attended one-day event that ended with a Mukonge dance competition involving 7 dance groups.
The idea came up when the fund actually saw the way Meta culture being jeopardized. So we sat in a team and thought that it was realistic for us to see that we bring them together and revive all of what has been thrown into the dustbin. You've seen the artifacts, see what Meta people had some years back, brought back to the local. People are seeing it for their first time.
Closing the ceremony, the Fond of Guneko from Keywater announced the second edition of Michia Bank Festival will take place in March next year in a bid to keep the flames burning. Cultural animation and dances gave the one-day cultural jamboree in Guneko Palace the grandeur it deserves.
Thank you, Fan Quinta, for that beautiful cultural report, which leaves me nostalgic for the weekend. And dear viewers, that concludes this week's edition of Prime Flash. I have been Dolly Ngonde for presentation, and this newscast was produced by Elvis, Modika. General coordination came from Faitata, and supervision from Kum Leonard. I'll leave you in the company of more interesting programs, especially as the brief comes up at exactly 10 a.m. Cameroon time. Do well to stay safe, and goodbye for now.